What's going on, YouTube? I'm back, and today I just wanted to bring you guys sort of a random video. And for some of you who don't know, I play Overwatch. I play a lot of Warzone. This channel was essentially built off me playing Overwatch. I love Overwatch. It's one of my most favorite games of all time, but my most favorite game of all time is easily Halo. Now, Halo came out in 2001. Halo Combat Evolved, the one on your screen right now, in 2001. I was in grade 1. And the first console that I actually owned myself was the original Xbox. The reason I'm saying this is because Halo CE, the Combat Evolved, is the one that shipped with that console that year. It was the first game that I fell in love with, and it's the game that I played continuously, non-stop, almost every day, or every other day. Anytime I play video games, I sometimes dabbled in other titles, you know, maybe some Grand Theft Auto here, you know, maybe some campaign games that I can't even remember now. This game defined my childhood. I know to some of you that might seem sad, but I loved it. I mean, I played it every single day, and I mountain biked and I dirt biked, and, you know, pretty regular kid. But this game is so special to me, and it changed who I am. That's not a dramatic thing to say. I'm streaming and making YouTube videos and being a part of the gaming community that has now grown from, you know, live streaming on Justin TV, turning into Twitch, turning into what esports is now. And that community is crazy. You know, I was right there the whole time. And the reason that I got involved in all of this, the reason that I'm a part of the community that I just described, is because of Halo. I beat Halo 1 on Legendary. Seriously, I'm not even kidding you. I probably beat it on Legendary. Seriously, I probably over 300 times, maybe 400 times in my life with my best friend growing up. Halo 2, same thing. The one that's on your screen right now. It was the first game that I played, I would say online. Like, I don't want to say competitively because it was really, really hard. I was so young. I just didn't really have, well, looking back, I just didn't really have like the hand-eye coordination or the reaction time to sort of hang with the big guys. But I slowly over time did become the best out of my small group of friends. And then, you know, as Halo 3 came out, that's sort of when I was I was just entering high school. And, you know, around that age, that's when your reaction time and your motor skills are really starting to come into their form. And Halo 3, after Halo 2, of course, ended up defining who I was as a high school student, as a person in high school. You know, I played sports, I did other things, hung out with friends, but my hobby back then was mountain biking. You know, I lifted some weights. You know, I was interested in sports and such, but most of my time went into playing Halo 3 or playing Halo 2. And, you know, back then, gaming was not really that cool. It was pretty frowned upon, and it's not like that anymore. And Halo 3 was the first game, in my opinion, that started to change that stigma about gaming. I remember being in grade 9, and the people that were on the senior basketball team knew who I was. They would say hello to me in the hallways. They called me by my name, Borium, in person, in school. These are like the cool kids, all the way at the top of the hierarchy, at the top of the food chain, calling me by my in-game alias, Borium. Because I played with them online because everybody heard how good I was. I played with kids 3 years older than me, 4 years older than me, made friends with them. People from other high schools that I didn't even know them, they called me by Borium, which was weird. I told them that they shouldn't call me that because they don't know me like that. But seriously, it's a true story. And the first thing that I actually put most of my time into in regards to seeing how much I could improve at it, like seriously, was Halo 3 and Halo 4. And I've pretty much grown as a person around this game, alongside this game, through its birth, through its prime, and its death, unfortunately. Now, regarding its death, you know, Halo 6, Halo Infinite, it's been announced, and it looks pretty good, I must say. It didn't before, but it looks pretty good now. And the reason that I'm bringing up its death is because someone in my Twitch chat asked me, you know, why did Halo die? What happened to Halo? Now, I'm speaking as a person that probably has like 80,000 games played, maybe over 100,000 matches played in Halo. I probably have 80,000 hours played in Halo. He asked me, what happened to Halo? Why did it die? And I kind of went on a rant about it, and here is that rant. What happened to Halo and why did it fall off so hard? Well, it's hard to really blame one thing, but first off, introducing Sprint. You introduce Sprint to Halo, it's no longer Halo. Here you have one of the best, most famous, most groundbreaking, innovative titles in the history of gaming. That's not dramatic. Without a doubt, in the history of console gaming. No question. Groundbreaking titles. 1, 2, 3. Each one of them known for doing amazing things for the gaming industry. All of them standalone, incredible titles. And then all of a sudden, they decide to add Sprint. Lots of people like to say, like, is Sprint good or bad for Halo? That question, even asking it, is bad for Halo. Why are you even asking that question? Think about how dramatically that changes the game. Like, that Sprint mechanic, it's like people that like Sprint in Halo, maybe you're from like a younger generation. When I say that Sprint's bad for Halo, they probably like roll their eyes and they're like, it's not really that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. It's almost everything. And it's not that it's inherently bad for a game, but it's just not Halo. Think of any other game where if you added Sprint, imagine Counter-Strike, if you just added Sprint, would that still be like Counters? No, it would change everything. Think about Warzone if you remove Sprint. Think about Call of Duty if you remove Sprint. It changes everything. It's not just some little thing that like, should we have it or shouldn't we? That question alone is just ridiculous to even ask, to even consider it. It's ridiculous. Anyone that thinks that Sprint is like okay to have in Halo is like, you don't like Halo, so you shouldn't even have an opinion on it. It's a stupid question, and that was the first blow to the game. That was the first major blow. And then after that, Halo 4 launched without a ranking system. And when it did get a ranking system, it was so easy. It was way too easy. And you had to go online to check what your rank was. And not only that, the highest SR in Halo 4 was like 128 or something. I got the highest rank in Halo 4 in like 2 months, I think. It's crazy. I already had everything. I had every single thing that you could unlock in like 2 months. I was the highest rank in all the playlists. They didn't build the game to last. They built it so it comes out, everybody plays it, and then you move on to the next title. That's the way that it was made. That was the thinking. That's really what killed the game, was that they were no longer making something to last. And then there's a skill gap. The Halo 4 battle rifle, it had so much bullet magnetism. It was so easy to four-shot people, and your shields regenerated while you sprinted away. So you could sprint away from someone, and then your shields would generate while you were sprinting away. And this is when people have a conversation about video games, this is where they all go wrong. They will have a discussion about the Halo 4 battle rifle, right? Is it too overpowered? Is there too much bullet magnetism, right? And they put that in a vacuum, and then they talk about that. It's not just the bullet magnetism on the Halo 4 BR. It's also, do you regain shields while you're sprinting away from a fight? So if you're chasing someone, they can just turn around after getting full shields and then just turn on you, and it's like, it's stupid. It doesn't feel real, because all of the outplay and all of the positioning, it no longer matters when you add sprint. It just matters who has the better shot. And so at the same time they added positioning matters less, they also made shooting easier, right? So like, what is going on there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But like I was saying, they put the Halo 4 skill of the BR in a vacuum, and they talk about that. The Halo 4 BR versus the Halo 3 BR. The Halo 4 one is easier, but is that good or bad? Is sprint good or bad? You know, are the maps good or bad? Is not having a ranked playlist good or bad? They talk about all of these things individually. It's all of these things that are together making the game shit, but nobody talks about it like that. They always talk about individual things, and then they'll be like, oh, well, Call of Duty has sprints, Halo could have sprint, right? Because Call of Duty is successful. Halo could have it and still be successful. First off, what do these people even mean by successful? Honestly, because when I think of a successful game, I think of a game that's good for 6 fucking years. I don't think of a game that I play once. I mess around. I really like it, so I do some microtransactions, and then I get excited for the new Battlefield that gets shown at E3 the next year. And that is what killed Halo. There was a certain reverence that the developers had over it when they're really making, like, they were artists making that game. Not only visually, not only in regards to the game engine, but the cohesive vision that they had was everyone was on board. And it wasn't, there's a documentary on YouTube that sums it up perfectly. And I know it's like, it's obviously I would say that it's propaganda towards like Halo fanboys like myself. It's obviously biased, but the stuff that you will see in that documentary will fucking blow your mind. And it's sort of intangible. The developers now, the things that they say, I mean, honestly, what they look like, even like the clothes that they wear, what the studio looks like. It's on YouTube. It's called Halo 3, or it's old Bungie versus new Bungie, I think. And you can tell immediately what happened. They got a whole bunch of people in there from the gaming industry, not people that make Halo. They filled the whole studio with gaming industry people. And all of a sudden, all of Halo's personality, everything that made it special, is just completely eroded because none of those people add anything at all. All they add is skins and bundles, and and they lower the skill gap because the guys upstairs with the suits on in the boardroom say they want to sell the most, so they want to appeal to the lowest common denominator, which is not how you make a successful game, by the way. You don't appeal to the shittiest players. People repeat that statement all the time. Oh, well, games suck now because they appeal to casuals. I don't disagree with the statement in itself, but if you do say that statement, then the inverse must also be true, where if you appeal to the hardcore players, then your game isn't going to have casual appeal and it's not going to make money, right? Because if you continue the same line of logic, right? If you say that appealing to casuals and shitters is how you make money, then the inverse must be, if you use the same logic, if you appeal to the competitive players, your game will make less money. That is not true. And that is why I hate it when people say that, because there is countless games. All of the best games ever have had huge skill gaps, superstar players that had insane mechanics, gods, people that make montages, just legends, essentially, celebrities in the game because they're so good at it. They're so much better than the average player. Fortnite is an example of that. Fortnite, a person that's better than a casual in Fortnite can literally make a new player look like they're an animal. A person that's good at Fortnite can literally build you into a box and you can't escape, and you will shoot at walls and they'll build more walls, and they will do an emote over top of you. They will do an emote where they sit down on a chair and eat chips. They will build up above you again. They will trick you into thinking that the way out is over there, and then you go over there, and then you step on a launch pad. They literally slap you around like you're a mouse and they're a cat. That's how big the skill gap is in Fortnite. And look at the success of Fortnite. Skill gap it does not make the game worse. It does not have anything to do with how many people play your game. And it's really simple. A casual player, a shitter does not care how big the skill gap is. He does not care how balanced the guns are, because he's only going to play the game for probably 120 hours. Maybe he's going to put 200 to 300 hours into it. They don't give a fuck how big the skill gap is. They don't care. They're casuals. That's why it triggers me so much when people say that, oh, well, they all appeal to casuals now because you have to get the largest player base. So the strategy there is to appeal to the players who don't care. The players who don't think about game balance, the players who just mindlessly play it. Those players don't give a fuck. Why would you appeal to people that don't give a fuck? It doesn't make any sense. It's like the game developers please play our game. Play casual player shitter, please. We like you so much. Look what we did for you, man. We made the game like this, and we made the lighting like this, and we made the matchmaking system like this, all for you. It's all for you. Come play our game. It's all for you, man. We love you. And then the casual player is like, oh, I'm bored now, and he just walks away to go play the new Battlefield. And that is essentially why most games now suck, because these gaming industry experts, the people that aren't artists, they're more marketers and economic majors. They've infiltrated the gaming industry, and they infect every studio, and they make it huge. That's the thing. If you look at these gaming studios, they're fucking huge. When they take the staff photo, it's ginormous. There's so many staff, and I guarantee you that's why things don't really fit together in a cohesive way in these video games. Is because you have a person that's oh, he's the head of this, and then there's the head of this group, and this group handles this, but these two guys on the floor can't communicate because he's working for this guy who's above him. So the only way that his idea can reach this group is if he goes through his manager, and then his manager has to talk to the manager of this group instead of the two people just communicating, and it just gets blowing up and blowing up and blowing up. It's awful. It's terrible, and anyone that looks closely can see exactly what occurs there. And this is sort of just inevitable. It's also true of movies. If you have a successful formula, say I made the new game, say I made Halo 2 and it was incredible and I was the lead artist for whatever. When they're renewing everybody's contracts at the studio, and if I go there and say, oh, for the next Halo, like I think I know exactly what we're gonna do with it, blah blah blah. They're not really going to care about me as an artist because they don't need me anymore. But if I could convince them that I need to do, like, if I need to change everything, the next Halo has to have it has to have a brand new lighting system. The physics have to be brand new. Everything has to be brand new now. They're gonna bring me back. So they they don't ruin the game on purpose, but they change things on purpose so that they can keep their job and renew their contract at the studio. So they will get it perfect. Everything will be perfect. But the problem is, once it's perfect, once the game's perfect, they start cutting people from the studio because you don't need as many people anymore. Because you just have to maintain it at that point, right? So they just start cutting everything. The guys come through in the suits again, then they start axing people. But if everybody in the room convinces the suits that they're changing everything, then you got to keep them all around. You got to renew all the contracts. And that's sort of just inevitable, honestly.